This is Webster Tarpley speaking from Washington, D.C. It is now my sad duty to announce that we are in mourning here for the passing of our friend Louis DuPont Smith, a friend for 25 years who succumbed to cancer in Philadelphia last night. Louis was a scholar, a philanthropist, a patriot above all, a publisher, ran for Congress, a patron of the arts, one of the main foci of cultural and musical life in Philadelphia where he lived, and known above all, I think, as a supporter of the American system of political economy, which for him was also related to the lifelong study he made of classical literature. And if you'd like to see some of the documents that Louis has left behind, look up Louis DuPont Smith and look at his lectures on Schiller, Schiller's aesthetic letters and the aesthetic education of man, which he treated in a multi-part lecture series in a library near Philadelphia in recent years. So our prayers are with his family, to whom we extend our deepest sympathy, and we mourn the passing of an irreplaceable individual, Louis DuPont Smith. And now, moving on, we've now got to look at the situation of the country. We're left here with a constitutional crisis in the form now of the Super Committee, or as it's known, the Super Congress. The Super Committee and the Super Congress, as you know, I've looked into Egyptian and Greek ancient history to draw out the name, the 12 tyrants. And as of yesterday, we now know who the entire list of the 12 tyrants actually is. They're a mixture, I guess, of Malthusians, of monetarists, supply-siders or Friedmanites, and of party hacks. The party hacks are very heavily represented. On the one side, for the Republicans, we've got the true founding father of the United States is not Hamilton or Franklin or even Jefferson, but Grover Norquist and his neo-feudalist program, his reactionary ideology that all taxes are bad and must be simply avoided, including the one that we want, which is the Wall Street sales tax, the 1% tax on Wall Street turnover, which is the key to reversing the entire deformation of U.S. national life in favor of excessive speculation. Grover Norquist on the one side, but on the let's go through step by step here. Senate Democrats, Patty Murray of Washington State, Malthusian, elected in 1992, she is a member of the Democratic leadership. You've seen her along with Reid and Schumer in recent weeks. Max Baucus of Montana, a veteran, been there since 1978, chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, from Montana, right-wing, pro-austerity Democrat, but heavily involved in the Biden negotiations with the Republicans in the Senate. He is, I think, the most likely vote in favor of the killer austerity programs that the Republicans are likely to propose. Max Baucus. John Forbes Kerry, Boston Brahmin, super rich, married to another descendant of that Salazar operation there in Portugal. His wife, her family coming out of the Portuguese diplomacy of the Salazar and post-Salazar period. Known as a rich elitist, an oligarch, a finance oligarch, after his youthful opposition to the Vietnam War, which I guess was the best thing that he ever did, failed presidential candidate. This is another likely vote in favor of bipartisan wrecking of the entitlements and economic rights of the American people won under the New Deal. Now, as we switch to the House, these are all three representatives of the Pelosi-dominated leadership. We have Javier Becerra, the one Hispanic, right? We should have mentioned. Patty Murray is the token woman. Javier Becerra, the token Hispanic. He sits on the Ways and Means Committee. He's the highest-ranking Latino in the House. Now, he says that he will fight any cuts in Social Security benefits. He did serve on the Bowles-Simpson Austerity Ghoul Commission. He voted against it, however. That's Becerra, member of the leadership. James E. Clyburn, South Carolina. Been there since 1992. Also a member of the leadership, right? He's like the co-chair, number two, along with Van Hollen, who we'll get to in just a minute. Clyburn, you'll remember, turned against Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton in South Carolina, accused them of racism, and went with Obama. This does not speak for a principled person to whom loyalty makes a great deal of difference, because he also knew that his charges were largely nonsensical. I don't know. There are no guarantees. This also might be a possible defection if that's what Pelosi decides that she wants. The other one, Chris Van Hollen from Maryland, congressman right here nearby, been there since 2002 when he defeated Connie Morella, the liberal Republican. Basically, I think a careerist in his orientation, trying to get into the leadership, which he has done. He's risen to a very high position in the House within a period of 8 or 9 years. The ranking Democrat on the House Budget Committee, and he's profiled himself as the opponent of Ryan, of course, of the draconian budget cuts. So those are your first 6 tyrants. Senate Republicans include Rob Portman, senator from Ohio, been there since 2010, so he's a freshman. He's on the Ways and Means Committee, close to Boehner, good relations with other pro-austerity Republicans. This is also just about a guaranteed vote. He's a former bean counter. He was the head of the Office of Management and Budget under Bush. He was the U.S. Trade Representative, Minister for Economic Warfare, also under Bush. John Kyle, dyed-in-the-wool, hardened reactionary, Arizona, been there since 1994, minority whip since 2008. He's a crony of McConnell of Kentucky. He's the number 2 GOP insider, Finance Committee, guaranteed fanatic vote. Even more fanatical, Pat Toomey, the president of the Club of Growth, a group of extreme reactionary right-wing ideologues dedicated to the destruction of the economic rights of the American people, dedicated to the demolition of the New Deal and Great Society social safety net. He had been 6 years in the House up to 2004, and then dropped out. He tried to defeat Specter, couldn't do it in Pennsylvania. Then became president of the Club for Growth, and now he's back riding the extremist reactionary tide of the Tea Party in 2010. Pure fanatic, and no hope for anything reasonable coming out of him. House Republicans, probably a little even worse. Jeb Hensarling, predator. Texas, 2002, fourth-ranking member of the Republican leadership, an ally of Boehner, formerly chairman of the Republican Study Committee, extremist out there on the right, serves on the Financial Services Committee, served on the Bowles-Simpson Committee, opposed, however, the outcome of that, and he opposed the entire Bowles-Simpson program, but this guarantees nothing. This is a right-wing extremist. Dave Camp, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, seems to be he has a direct line to Baucus, according to the Washington Post. Interested in comprehensive tax reform. That means they take away your mortgage deduction. Served on the Bowles-Simpson Committee and opposed the outcome. This is the mastermind of the 1996 attack on welfare, the attack on the Social Security Act, the abolition of welfare as we knew it. Worst thing that Clinton did. Camp helped them along. Back in a minute.